and welcome to the garage at Bailey Towers. I'm sitting here with my good buddy Joe Woolworth. I have a 2020 Moto Guzzi V7 Racer. Why don't we put him on the bike and see from the, I don't mean this in a detrimental way, the newbie perspective.
Oh no, I'm a newbie, that's fine, yeah.
How you felt about the bike. Joe is the originator of the podcast, Guys Who Do Stuff.
That's right.
Joe and my good buddy Josh Manning, and obviously your good buddy Josh, started the podcast about 2 years ago, came to Charlotte and interviewed me early in the process.
Yeah, you were one of our first shows, amazing show.
Well, thank you.
If you haven't heard it, you should go check it out.
Yeah, you should, and that's a bit of a shameless plug for the channel.
Shameless plug, there we go.
Shameless plug for the channel, because Guys Who Do Stuff is about guys who do stuff. And over the last 2 years that you've been doing the podcast, right, Joe and Josh have interviewed a enormous variety of really interesting people.
Yeah, for sure.
Ultra runner Charlie Engle, who ran 50 miles a day for 111 days across the Sahara. Business owners, podcast gurus.
Porn stars.
Porn stars, retired porn stars.
Retired porn stars.
He wasn't working the day you had him on, right?
No.
So during that time, one of the greatest things that's happened, in my mind, Joe has become infected with this crazy disease that we all have called motorcycling, but Josh being such an avid motorcyclist. Joe's going to take it away and tell us what he's gone and done. And he's not going to tell you that it took 20 years of begging and pleading with his wife to get this.
I had a little moped as a teenager, and I've always just been fascinated with the idea of motorcycles, and being around you guys and hearing all the stories just made it even more prevalent. Went out and got a Royal Enfield Classic 500, the chrome one. And it's amazing, man. I love that thing. For my first bike, it's been amazing. Love it.
Easy to ride, easy to learn?
Easy to ride, easy to learn. I feel like it's a great bike for me because it's very forgiving. You can really take off and it won't shoot you off the back or pop a wheelie or anything crazy like that. And I'm using it mostly as a commuter to just go around town. So I'm sticking like 35 to 55 miles an hour, which is what those bikes are made for. That's really kind of their sweet spot, down a country road at 50 miles an hour.
And very cool that you have Josh, because obviously he's been very instrumental in helping with safety gear, helmets, lessons, riding, maintenance.
Yes.
Josh has been keeping me up to date on Joe's progress. I have been back on the podcast since, and it's so great that you guys are doing so well. I mean, it's, quick shameless plug again. I mean, go listen to Guys Who Do Stuff. If you've got a person that wants to be on, call you guys.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's about getting out, it's about doing things. And Josh said, hey, we want to come down and see you. What's going on? I said, well, I have a 2020 Moto Guzzi V7 Racer in the garage. Why don't we bring Joe down, put you on the Moto Guzzi?
Yeah, we were out shooting. It was an amazing day, man. Great day for it.
So first impressions, you leave the 500 single, you get on the 750 V twin.
First impressions were, it feels like this is like a really well-made luxury timepiece, where like the Royal Enfield is like this utility blast to ride, like just strap on and go. And this just feels really precise. Like the clutch is very precise. I don't have any trouble. Like every once in a while I have trouble finding a gear on the Royal Enfield. This thing is just put together well and super quiet. The way it starts up, the noise that it makes, it's very satisfying, but very different from the Royal Enfield. The Royal Enfield's a lot louder in first gear. This is like, am I going? But it's got all the power, but it's just quiet, but in a good way.
Interesting. You're talking about a motorcycle, it weighs in around, what, 470 pounds?
Yeah, 470, which is really similar to, I think the Royal Enfield Dry is 490.
Interesting. But this one has about 52 horsepower, which I'm sure is a good bit more than the Enfield.
Yeah, I think it's 48 or 42, the Enfield, Yeah,
I'm not even sure what the foot-pounds of torque are, but this thing's got a lot of pull off the bottom end, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
As soon as you let the clutch out, it's all right there.
Yeah.
And handling, braking, because we went on some beautiful roads.
Yeah, the handling is exceptional. Like I said, I just feel it's a lot more precise. When you lean and just kind of put a little pressure, it's super responsive. As well as, I feel it handles really well going slow, a lot better than the Royal Enfield does. Because again, I'm kind of new, so I'm just still trying to find the place with the clutch on the Royal Enfield. This bike made it really easy to drive around slow and feel like you know exactly what it's doing. Yeah,
I'm really enjoying this perspective because obviously, for those of you who know me, I mean, I've been testing motorcycles for 20 years and we've ridden just about everything made. I do have a little bit of advantage that when I was a kid, my first big bike was actually a Moto Guzzi 850 Le Mans.
Okay.
which was really not unsimilar to this, the way the cylinders stick out, the shaft drive.
Yeah.
But it was a lot less sophisticated than this, and it didn't have the smoothness.
Right.
So I've been familiar with these, so I do come to this a little bit differently than some of the bikes I ride or test.
Yeah.
But it's great from your perspective because you're sort of stepping up.
And it's a 6-speed, which I wish that the Royal Enfield was a 6-speed, because every time I take it on the expressway, it's really pushing to do 70. It also has a really satisfying between like 3,000 and 4,000 RPMs is when you can feel the motor a little bit. Because I watched some YouTube videos to prep, and they said that there would be some wiggle in the motor with a V-twin like this, and I don't feel it on that at all.
In the old days when you blipped the throttle on a Moto Guzzi, I mean, they literally would just bounce from side to side, and I was quite surprised when I got on this new generation that they don't rock the way the old ones did.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more than inline motorcycle people are used to, but for me it feels quite restrained.
It doesn't have a lot of vibration. Like the mirrors, the stock mirrors that come on the Royal Enfield, like I have to pull in the clutch if I want to see if there's a car behind me.
What do you think about the styling? I mean, it's obviously meant to look like a 70s cafe racer, like my Le Mans did in when I had it.
I mean, this kind of styling does it for me, for sure. Like, this is the kind of bike I would want to own. One thing I noticed is that the pegs were a little bit further back and the handlebars are a little lower than the Royal Enfield. And it was a little uncomfortable when I started riding, but then when I realized I should be sitting back further in the seat, just kind of sit in. And I was like, oh, I get it. That's nice. It kind of makes you feel a little bit sportier, like you're
well,
getting
I mean,
on
it technically is a cafe racer. It's supposed to be a sporting position. What do you think about the price point? I guess website says MSRP's right around 10 grand, a little bit under.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think for my bike, brand new, it's 5,000. So it's a big jump, but it's more horsepower. So this is 744. Mine's a 500. It's got a lot more power when you want to accelerate. It's a pretty bike, and I was shocked to hear that it was $10,000. I thought it would have been a little more after looking at the styling of it and everything.
We didn't have a lot of time to get over it because obviously you sort of arrived here, put your gear on, we went out. Beautiful little town, Waxhaw, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And there's country roads and the horses, and I mean, it's tremendous.
I think the horses wanted to race, I could tell.
If you get into it on the electronics, it does have different modes to check temperature and miles and average miles per hour. So it's got a fair bit of sophistication electronically, which I'm sure the Enfield doesn't have.
No, the Enfield's pretty just like, here's the speedometer, really. I mean, at least the dash tells you what gear you're in. That's nice.
Yeah, very, very sweet. So, good day out?
Oh, absolutely.
2 thumbs up?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a blast to ride.
To get to see somebody who's coming to motorcycling, enjoying motorcycling, and wants to come out and work on further motorcycling, I think we've got him hooked. So thank you guys for checking in at Bailey Towers. Thank you, Joe Woolworth, for stopping by.
And thanks for letting me ride it.
Well, thank Tee Caldwell up at Tee's.
Thanks, Tee Caldwell.
Yeah, Eurocycles. I mean, he's such a great friend of ours. I mean, he's like, every time I take one back, he gives me another one. So
all right,
we'll get another. We'll give you a call.